Hey folks, Joseph A. Sabora here, and once again, as we're continuing with the tribute to Robin Williams, I'm reviewing my third film that's based on the book by Chris Van Allsburg, and this was one of his best-selling children's books from 1981 called Jumanji, which is from 1995. It stars, once again, Robin Williams with Kirsten Dunst, who went on to do films like Interview with the Vampire, Small Soldiers, Bring It On, and many others. Drop Dead Gorgeous too. She's a great actress. Along with Bradley Pierce, who has been known as the voice of Chip from Beauty and the Beast, went on to do films like The Ball Wars and Doom Runners. Those were good ones. Bonnie Hunt, who actually got her start in films like Rain Man, as well as the first two Beethoven movies, and many others. David Alan Grier from In Living Color and the movie Mannequin, and many others he's been in. One of the funniest comedians. Bebe Neuwirth from Cheers and many films. Jonathan Hyde from Richie Rich and The Mummy, and Patricia Clarkson. And it's directed by Joe Johnson, who directed the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, as well as The Rocketeer, Captain America, The First Avenger, as well as The Pagemaster, many others. He was also the art director such as Raiders of the Lost Ark. He also won for that. The movie begins set outside the woods of Brantford, New Hampshire in 1869. The two boys had buried a mysterious chest which produced the sound of tribal beating drums. 100 years later, 12-year-old Alan Parrish, who had fled from a group of bullies to a local shoe factory known as the Parrish Shoe Factory, that's owned by his father, Sam, who's played by Jonathan Hyde, where he actually meets one of Sam's employees named Carl Bentley, played by David Alan Grier, who actually showed Alan his futuristic shoe, which basically looks almost like a shoe that was produced by Nike, or in some cases Reeboks. It winds up in Alan's hands until he accidentally put the shoe inside the machine, which causes a lot of damage, and Kyle had to take the blame and the responsibility, which caused him to lose his job. But outside of the factory, the bullies wound up beating up Alan and stole his bike. And after that, Alan had followed the sound of the same drum beats that he heard, the same way that the two boys have heard, inside the construction site, where he found a chest containing the board game called Jumanji, which he finally took home. And then after an argument with his father about attending a boarding school, he decided to run away with his friend Sarah Whitler, who actually arrived and brought his stolen bike back, and they began to play the game Jumanji. When the dice had rolled, some of the players' pieces had moved by itself, with the cryptic message appearing inside the crystal ball. And right in the center, Alan's first message tells him how to spend time until all of a sudden, that is until the dice had rolled from 5 to 8, and he got sucked inside the board. 26 years later, the siblings known as Judy and Peter Shepard had moved into the same house that Parrish once up in with their aunt Nora, both played by Kirsten Dunst and Bradley Pierce, along with Bebe Neuwirth. They both had lost their parents in a car accident. Both are named Jim and Martha. And once again, they started hearing the drum beats, and they wanted to play the game in the attic. And all of a sudden, a lot of things were going extremely wrong, such as mosquitoes, monkeys, and even a lion. And that's when Alan Parrish had finally arrived, now an adult, and he's played by Robin Williams. Yeah, already filled with a grown beard and loads of hair. He now discovered Judy and Peter about what's going on in the game. So after all this, Alan had locked the lion in the bedroom and heads to his father's factory. But he did also meet Carl, who is now working as a police officer in a now already shut down factory. A homeless man actually had revealed that Sam was distraught after his disappearance and had been abandoned for business for years. Also the fact that they soon had lost his parents as years followed. So then, in order for him to finally finish this game, before a lot of havoc had started, including the big stampede and all this other stuff, all three of them had tried to find Sarah, who's been devastated after Alan's disappearance. They persuade her to finish the game before something bad really happens, including the hunter that came along, who happens to be a resemblance to his father, and so on and so forth, and the whole thing became a huge mess inside the entire city. So they're trying to stop him from stealing the game and trying to get all the games in one piece before they have to keep playing until another disaster starts to happen. Yeah, even with the house and other animals, it's like one of the biggest jungles that really appeared inside or outside of the entire world. So with the help of them, they had to find a way to finish the game before a lot of things have gone extremely wrong. And it's a very good film that's based on the book, and I used to read the book too a long time ago when I was little. Like, I think I was like 5 or 6 when I read this, because I was in elementary school. It's a very good book. If you love to see what was it like, playing a game that wants it coming back to life, it's like, wow, it was really pumping, edge of your seat type of fantasy adventure that you ever saw. It was amazing. It was actually, which was also interesting too, because they had a lot of great special effects, all CGI with animatronics and all this. It's funny. I don't think it looked as dated as it seems. I mean, this is like, the 90s really had a lot of good techniques at the time, because already Jurassic Park was one of the biggest films of the decade, and so was Terminator 2, because they both had some interesting CGI effects that they put into this movie. It may look a little cheesy as far as the effects are concerned. Especially the monkeys, because the monkeys look pretty, rather cheesy by making their face with their facial movements going around. And yeah, they look very creepy too. And all the animals too, including the lion. Yeah, you could tell that they really did use a lot of CGI in all these scenes. So it was, and plus it was so smashing. It was very loud too at times. Yeah, because especially with that stampede with the rhinos and the elephants, the zebras, the pelicans, every single animal that they have from the jungle in the Wild Kingdom, it was everywhere. It was like, wow, you would have expected to see something like this about to happen. And it's just, just for that one game alone. Yeah. But yeah, Robin Williams did a very good job playing Alan Parrish in the film. I think this was definitely right up there with his other roles that he's done. This was his second film that he actually wanted to be in a fantasy adventure after Hook, which came out in 1991. Same studio, by the way, TriStar Pictures. So, yeah. That releases both of these. And also Bonnie Hunt from Beethoven and Rain Man. She was also very good too, playing the adult version of herself that they both played. So they seemed like, they had very good chemistry together. And Kirsten Dunst, though, she was very young at the time too. She was like, I believe she was like 13 when she did this movie, or actually 12 years old. Yeah, 12 years old. Yeah, she was very young at the time, and yeah, she was already doing films like Little Woman and Interview with the Vampire. And yeah, she was very good in this movie too. It was pretty cute, and she could definitely act very well. And it's hard to believe that this is the same actress who went on to do films like Bring It On, the cheerleading movie, which I also like too. The Drop Dead Gorgeous and Small Soldiers too. That was a good one. Everything. Yeah, and of course Spider-Man. Yeah, who couldn't forget that? Where she played Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, in the first 3 films. Bradley Pierce, who has always been known as the voice of Chip in the movie Beauty and the Beast. Of course, he also did the voice of Tails in the TV series Sonic the Hedgehog. And also went on to do films like The Bowers and Doom Runners. Yeah, I love those films too. Those are my favorites. Yeah, very good in this movie. David Allen Greer, as usual, always doing his comedic stuff. Yeah, he did a good job, just playing, a former employee who winds up becoming a cop who, who his car has always been damaged all the time. Where the monkeys took over his car. They keep driving and slamming into it, crash into it, and all of a sudden, it always gets, then a hunter keeps shooting it, and then later, the plant pod actually ate it. There were times when I actually did joke on that one scene with the plant pod, which I know was sort of like a resemblance to, Little Shop of Horrors, where I said, "Feed me, Seymour," after Perry got caught and the pod, got caught in the pod, and all those other scenes that they went into it. Yeah, it's a really good film. I mean, you should definitely check this out. Especially if you love the book, Jumanji, you definitely would watch this. And even after the movie, they even had a board game as well that's based on it, too. Yeah, even a video game. So it's always interesting that they had a lot of stuff from the film. They also had a TV series later on that aired on UPN. It was an animated series, and I thought it was really cool, too. It only lasted 3 seasons as the show went along, and quite different from the movie and the book. And they also had another sequel, which is also based on the book, called Saphira, or Saphira: A Space Adventure, which came out in 2005 by John Favreau. Yeah, the movie with Josh Hutcherson, with Kristen Stewart, of course from Twilight. Ugh. But she was also in the movie Panic Room, so I always remember her from that. And Dax Shepard too, which which didn't do so well at the box office when that film came out, because it was going up against films like Chicken Little and Harry Potter. But Chicken Little was a shitty movie, but Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was actually very good. That was the first film that gave it a PG-13 rating. So on and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely a jungle out there, and if you must take a chance to see this. Yeah. But it did become a hit when it came out in 1995. It was during the Christmas season, so it worked pretty well. Because there were a lot of movies that came out during December, even though some of them were huge flops. But nevertheless, because it made $65 million, so that went pretty well for the production values that they went into it. With all the special effects and all the techniques and all this other stuff they put into it with all the sets. It was amazing, and it was really blasting. It was with excitement. I just really enjoyed this movie a lot. So definitely watch this. It's fun. So I give Jumanji 5 stars. I'm Joseph A. Sabora, and I'll see you later. Bye.